Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Matt Chat. That's right, it's Going In Raw Matt Chat, the show where we solicit video questions from our patrons over at patreon.com/Steven Larson, $20 a month. And you can participate in Matt Chat. You can send us a video question and watch Steven Larson debate your topic. It's a really fun show. I love this show because it spotlights our patrons, the people who are most committed to the Friendoverse community, and I think it's fantastic. You could be a part of that at patreon.com/Steven Larson. We got a ton of great questions today. Let's hop right into it. This guy, what can I say about him? That's all I got. Wayne Maker, he's actually got a good question.
It is a good question.
Let's take a look.
Hello, wankers. It's your favourite potty mouth UK correspondent, Wayne Maker, back with another Matt Chat question. Now, my question to you this week is, what do you think it is that NXT gets so right that the main roster gets so wrong in regard to call-ups? The main reason I asked this question is because three of the nicest guys that I've met in wrestling, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Ricochet, are all in NXT. And I can see if they get called up to main roster, they're going to drop a bollock like they've done with everyone else. If you look at Kevin Owens, he's now basically jobbing out to anyone after a decent push. If you look at Shinsuke, if you look at Asuka, they're all basically mid-carders. So what is it that they're doing right in NXT, but they're ballsing up in main roster? And that's a hearty handshake to my man Larson. Steve, you don't get anything because you keep mugging me off. So, no too sweet for you, Squire.
Thank you, Wayne Maker.
He didn't give me a too sweet.
Well, I mean,
you're
quite often rude to him.
What did I even do? Well, look at him. Of course I'm rude to him. Bullocks. He's plastic. No, I love Wayne Maker. You know what? I don't care. I'll give you too sweet. That's what us California dudes do.
All right.
Right.
I don't know. I don't too sweet. I'm from California.
I like this question though. It's a really
very good question because you look at the list of NXT talents called up to main. One's handled correctly. It's a pretty short list. One's kind of botched upon their call up. Pretty long list.
Yeah.
Pretty long list.
Okay. Well, let's look at who's. You kind of got to look at this a couple different ways, all right? Because, like, you look at the main event scene right now on Raw, the top show, right? And, yeah, so Seth Rollins, early NXT guy, right? Roman Reigns.
The entire Shield, kind of early NXT.
But Seth was, like, champion.
FCW, NXT. Yeah, no.
The other two didn't really. They didn't make a mark there.
And you have Dolph on the other side. He wasn't in NXT at all.
No.
You have Drew, who was in NXT for a very short period of time, but he was already well established before even going to NXT. And then Braun, who was in developmental but never appeared on NXT.
Except for one time as a Rosebud.
Yes.
So there's a couple things I think that are happening. I think here's the thing. Examples like Asuka. Well, Asuka's not a great example. Examples like Shinsuke. He's United States. I think Shinsuke's always been treated pretty good. Asuka's been botched. Bob Roode has been, wow.
Yeah.
You got guys like Apollo Crews who were brought up way too early.
Called up way too early.
Way too early.
You know what? Of all the NXT call-up success stories, would you say that Baron Corbin might top that list? I mean, you could say Kevin Owens because he's a Universal Champion, but
you take Kevin Owens and Finn Balor out of the equation, and
then Baron has to be top, right?
Yeah, Baron's
Baron
probably
and
top. Yeah.
Alexa Bliss.
Yeah,
they have to top that list.
Yeah. So, what's the deal? I would say this. Number one,
one thing that really sticks out to me, and this seems like it would be a no-brainer, yet they don't do it. It feels like that no one on main roster, probably Vince, watches NXT at all. And so they invest so much time in NXT developing these characters. And then when they get brought up to main, it seems like 85-90% of the time, they are not those characters. I mean, Bob Roode is the most glaring example where he is this strategic tactician heel who wants to, granted he never did it, fill the NXT arena with a bunch of CEOs. And he was fantastic.
Yeah.
He gets brought up to main as generic smiling babyface.
Yeah.
Whose gimmick is glorious guy.
Okay.
That was the extent of it.
But here's the strange thing. It feels like that now. Why is it that before, like a year or two ago, Kevin Owens came in and had the perfect call-up?
Yeah.
He had the perfect call-up.
Yeah.
Because it went... He literally carried the NXT title on the main roster. Mm-hmm. Sami Zayn had a really, really good call-up. Finn Balor had maybe the best call-up of them all. Mm-hmm. It happened to coincide when they were trying to punish Roman Reigns.
I have a conspiracy theory that I'll posit to you.
Okay.
That whether it be Vince, obviously not Triple H, but somebody in creative, someone in the executive branch of WWE. There's no executive branch, it's just the executive
front office.
Yes, front office. Will approach these NXT call-ups saying, let's do something completely different than what we did in NXT. Right when they get called up, instantly a sink or swim situation for them. Let's see what they really got. Can they adjust everything they do on the fly on the main roster where they're working 250 days a year? And you have someone like Drew, who was a huge over babyface at NXT. He gets called up to main as a badass heel, and instantly he embraces it and succeeds massively. Bob Roode is given this generic babyface, smiling, happy guy, and it seems like the moment he had to smile out there with nothing more to it than just smiling, there was no subtext behind smile. You can just see a little bit of him kind of die inside. Mm-hmm. And week after week, that's continued until this past week on Raw.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, where he looks miserable.
Yeah.
He looks absolutely miserable.
He does.
So is it a situation where they approach, not all, but some, because if you look at the span of the most recent NXT call-ups, there's varying degrees of them showing up in completely diametrically opposed characters in the world of NXT. Like Almas is the same thing. He carried over pretty much what he was doing in NXT to main roster. But I just wonder if, I doubt there's any truth to that, but it just crossed my mind. Maybe there's a situation where it's like, oh, we're really high on this wrestler. Let's just change everything about him and see how well they succeed.
I have an even darker, more sinister conspiracy theory for you. What if somebody high up is resentful of NXT? Because they get all... And here's the crazy thing. Number one, it wouldn't surprise me because shit can get petty in the WWE, and we understand that. But especially after... There was a distinct sort of split at kind of Shinsuke and on. Because when Shinsuke came up, it was like, wait, what are you doing with him? He had a great opening night with The Miz. Then they did the shake-up. And then they had this thing with Dolph, which lasted forever, took forever to get on a pay-per-view. And during that time, like Shinsuke and Finn, but Shinsuke's time really sort of redefined NXT as the place to be. And I do kind of wonder if maybe what you're saying is the result of, oh, you guys think you're so good? Think NXT's so good? Look what we're going to do with them. I don't think for a second that anybody at WWE would want people to fail, but there might be an element of, oh, you think they're so good? This is what we can do with them,
Yeah.
Asuka's in. I think some cases can boil down to good intentions on main roster, just bad execution. Mm-hmm. When Asuka came in, she had a head full. They booked her. Granted, not maybe as strong as she was in NXT. Although in NXT, towards the tail end, when she was fighting Ember Moon, she was having issues there beating Ember Moon. I mean, she never lost to her, but still. She came in. Emma had some competitive matches with her, which seemed odd.
Yeah. Well, the thing about when Asuka got brought in, it seemed like no one was scared of her.
Yeah, that was an issue. Yeah, that was a problem.
And people should have been scared that Asuka was coming to Raw.
But they did give her the Mania match with Charlotte, which was well-deserved, and that worked. They could have made so much more money off that to continue that feud, but they didn't, and that was a huge mistake.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to talk about Asuka a little bit later on because we have another question about her. Shinsuke, I think that they sort of corrected the ship with him this past WrestleMania. Again, the guy came up within a year and a half or whatever it was. Within a year, yeah, he was the next WrestleMania because he came up after WrestleMania, and then the next Mania, he had that dream match with AJ Styles, heel turn. So it might have taken the scenic route to get there, maybe longer than I would have preferred, but they did give him sort of a main event treatment, at least on SmackDown. Yeah, and now he's doing some cool stuff with the U.S. title. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder if some of it is. There might be some resentment there towards NXT. I don't know. I mean, I imagine we would have heard by now if that's the case. But it is kind of scary when you think of call-ups as, oh, man, somebody else are they gonna call him up now and just ruin him? Like, it sucks. It should be
something to get excited about when
you're a huge fan of. It totally was.
NXT gets brought up to the main roster, makes a huge splash.
Because when everybody looked at Finn Balor like he was this golden child, like everybody on the roster during that first episode, that was great. Yeah. That was so awesome. Yeah. So I don't know. It's gonna the next 12 months are gonna be very interesting because we're gonna have the Undisputed Era. We're gonna have Aleister Black, Ricochet, Gargano, Ciampa. Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Are they going to, as Waymaker says, what did he say? Drop a bollock?
Yeah.
That was a great expression right there. Anyways, that's why I love you Brits, because you say things like that. I love it. Anyways, let's move on from Waymaker.
Next. From Joshua Martinez. Let's see what Joshua has to say.
Hey, friendos. So lately we've been seeing a lot of WWE superstars showing up in indie shows like Evolve and Progress. Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing? For some reason, I've been seeing people online talk about how it damages the image of that wrestler because they're in an indie promotion. But personally, I think it's awesome. Imagine going to a small indie show and seeing Velveteen Dream or Johnny Gargano. Yeah, let me know what you guys think.
Thank you, Joshua Martinez.
Thank you.
Are WWE or NXT stars showing up at indie shows good or bad?
So there's not to quash the whole debate aspect of the show, but I would say that there is good and bad to it. I will outline what the good is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because as Joshua said, yeah, it'd be awesome to show up at an indie show and see Velveteen Dream there. Or to see who else has done it? Pete Dunne in the UK division. Tyler Bates about to fight Walter at the Progress Wembley show, which is happening tomorrow.
30th.
Today.
Yeah, 30th.
Today. Nice. Yeah. I want to see that one. That's live? I think they're airing that live. Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
It should be on before Fighting Spirit Unleashed too.
Yeah. So no, I think for the fans, yeah, it's absolutely cool. Absolutely. I was actually a little bit, I never thought it was really going to happen, but I was playing in my head what it would have been like if Kevin Owens would have shown up at All In. That to me actually might have been a bummer because of the reason why it wouldn't be great. Why don't you go ahead and...
Oh, yeah, because these huge stars could show up at these indie shows and overshadow everything else that's going on.
Pretty much.
I know Evolve's a pretty well-established independent promotion that gets national touring talent. However, if you're, one of the guys or women working that show, and you're in a feud, you're building up to a match, and then you discover, Velveteen Dream's going to be here. Well, that could overshadow all that we've been doing the past 6 months. Now, the flip side of that coin is, I suppose, the rationale that people have used to justify part-timers being on major WB shows, and that with adding huge stars to these shows, that could potentially bring more new viewers to the product to check out what's going on. But with just local independent shows like Evolve, I don't know if all their shows are on Fight TV or whatever. And if not, then you're just relying on the local audience. And yeah, if you're a performer there, that can be a bit of a bummer.
Well, okay, but the flip side of that is the bottom line. Well, so I'll be honest. I have no idea how these, I'm assuming they get like a standard payout.
Yeah.
If their payout is
if it's based on the gate,
if it's based on the gate, then no performer is going to be. I mean, here's the thing: it's difficult for us to say because we're not wrestlers. We could hit up Adam Mayhem and find out. But I would assume that, yeah, there is a danger of them overshadowing the performers, but at the same time, for the performers to have a spotlight on their entire card. Because somebody's coming there, I would think that they would actually probably consider that a good thing.
Yeah, potentially.
So I don't know. We're not wrestlers, so we can't really say. For the fans, I think it's great. unless they don't like the person who's showing up, because then they're going to be hogging that spotlight. But yeah, I don't know. It's, as a fan, I can't see it being a negative. I really can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably mostly good, but I guess there is, independent shows are where those stars show up to shine. And if they are getting overshadowed, then yeah, maybe it's not great. But I don't know.
Again, if you're getting a larger payout because of it, that could be pretty good.
It's being pretty good.
Pretty good.
All right.
All right. Next up from Steven. Let's see what Steven has to say.
Me?
Not you.
Me. Not me.
Not you.
Okay.
Conas Tatu friendos agus Miltu Gama. It's your Irish linguistic expert Stephen here, or Smurf, with another no match chat question. Now, my question for you today, it relates to Impact. So, a little analogy. Old Impact was kind of like WCW towards the end, like Carnage and all that sort of thing, but cool cruiserweight action. But now, I want to make the comparison that Impact is in fact the new ECW, cool death matches, a lot of hype, a lot of great wrestling, and a lot of up-and-comers. Now, my question for you is Impact the new ECW, and should it strive to be the new cool ECW type show, building a huge fan base and just passionate fans, and having shows that blow every other place out of the water? I want either. I'm Irish. I love an argument. We all do. So I want either of you to pick a side and argue why. I assume, Larson, you might argue against this, and you might argue that it's not the new ECW. But that's it. Too sweet. Hearty handshake. Shoulder lean. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Steven.
Thank you, Steven.
Here, I'll go first. Is Impact new ECW? No. Impact's not cool yet. They're putting on much better product. They're getting some little more hardcore stuff, some edgier material. I mean, the OGs just ran over a youngster a few weeks back.
Yeah,
good to hear that he lived.
If it was ECW, it had died.
Yeah. Nonetheless, Impact, haven't watched it, but from everything I hear, what?
I thought you're making an argument on something you don't watch.
From what I hear, they're improving.
Yeah.
They're doing everything they can to lift the Impact TNA stigma that still applies to their product to a certain extent. However, it's still not cool. They still have an owl on their logo.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know.
The owl on the logo wasn't cool.
No, owls aren't cool. Well, they can be. It's like an Edgar Allan Poe type
No, if it was
owl.
like in Clash of the Titans, a robotic owl, that was cool.
Okay, yeah, you got me there.
But by and large, owls, yes, not cool. And that's why I feel like it's lacking. And maybe that has something to do with the stigma, if you will, is still attached to the promotion from people like me who just can't get past what they used to do in the past as far as how they book stuff.
I don't see
and
any
even
owls
just
here.
lately, yeah, no, I don't see any owls there either. You know what? The color palette, it's not a cool color palette.
Well, it literally is, because it's blue. So it literally is actually cool.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Even when I got super hyped when they put that belt on Pentagon, only to have him lose it like the next week, it's a bummer.
Yeah, but he's still doing really, really
No,
cool
I believe
stuff
that,
there.
and I like a lot of talents in Impact. The packaging of it isn't cool yet. That was what made ECW something special. Is that, yeah, they did all the hardcore extreme stuff, and there was some edgy material, but the packaging was cool.
No, man, you're getting this
Hold
wrong.
on, I'm not
You're getting
done
this
yet.
wrong.
I'm not done yet. Just like the how they used to segment the show, they had the wrestling at the end. They had those back to back promos, and it was all done in really grainy video and like a single light, just beating down on people. It was awesome. It was cool. It was edgy. It was different.
They didn't do that because they wanted to. They did that because they had to.
I know, but the DIY aesthetic of it all was cool.
Okay. All right.
When Impact starts being cool, maybe I'll pay attention.
You can't even get your own argument right. It's not the new ECW.
No, it's not.
There are, and I even think that you're kind of out of touch with this particular thing because you have some really weird inherent biases against Impact,
I just don't have time to watch it.
which I don't. But I know. But that's the thing. Like you don't have time to watch it, and that's totally fine. Like I that's fine. But you can't really say. Then because you don't watch it, you can't really say what their packaging is like because you don't know.
Well,
because
I'm
you don't
aware
really
enough of
watch
the product to know. Like I see the website here, nothing's
looks
cool.
great.
It looks fine, but it's not cool.
It looks great.
like there's a video here of Sue Young and somebody, and Sue Young's cool.
Yeah,
Individually,
she's super cool.
she's cool.
Yeah.
But then I look at the background. Is that how they light like the ring area? Because that's not cool.
Well, it's all like mood. Like for her entrance is like mood lighting.
All right.
No.
And then you get.
I don't think so.
You get Johnny Mundo over here.
They literally. Well, the thing is, WWE just
And he's
hired.
and he's levitating above some city.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
Well,
he's not cool. He's a great wrestler. He's kind of cheesy though. Here's the thing. Impact actually does have quite a bit of cool factor. And you can see that that's not something that I think you can actually quantify that by the response. Yeah, I think you can, because you can look at their crowds as it was a year ago versus today, and there is a marked difference. There is a marked difference.
Yeah,
you can take a look at
the people who want to be there, who people want to get out of the heat. That's the difference.
Well, that's what it was a year ago.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And the crowd now
wants to be there.
So there is a difference there. When they did Slammiversary, had all sorts of buzz coming out of it. Buzz is another way of saying cool. It did. I don't know.
No, it had buzz, but I
Yeah.
don't know if buzz is necessarily synonymous with cool. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, people are buzzing about something. It's not like, it's not Brie Bella botching and concussing. That had buzz, but that was bad buzz. This was good buzz.
Yeah.
People were saying really good things about Slammiversary. And so I think you're wrong. I think that it does have a positive connotation to it now. The reason why it's not ECW is because ECW was such a unique beast. And that's actually a conversation that I'm kind of curious about. I was having kind of a back and forth with Dave Schilling about it on Twitter like a little while ago, in that ECW kind of felt like the thing that there was no way for ECW to have gone mainstream and still remained ECW. I don't think there was a way to do that.
No, it's not possible.
Because when you watch ECW, now the superficialities that Steven's talking about here, where you have up-and-coming talent, you're putting on hardcore matches, you're putting on really good matches, the creative for Impact is actually pretty decent. Those do parallel with ECW. The biggest difference is ECW had a sort of a grassroots, very organically built audience that was so passionate, because you had a guy like Paul Heyman, who was an absolute master and still is at rallying people behind a cause. Impact doesn't have that, because Impact isn't that. Everybody knows that they're owned by a company. Everybody knows that they could bring in, and there is still, I'm not going to say they've completely shed like the remnants of the old regime the way it was. And even they put out this cool little Slammiversary 8-minute documentary thing where Don Callis was saying, we're not just trying to dig out of the hole, we're trying to rise above the hole that we were dug in, and we're getting there bit by bit, step by step. And no, do they have the cool factor, as you like to say, as like a New Japan show? No way. Or like a PWG? No, they don't. But they are making really, really fast headway getting there in sort of bringing their own brand and it's kind of impressive. They've been able to do it under the name Impact, which itself has had such a negative connotation. So I think they are getting there. I think that to compare with ECW, like I said, the superficialities are kind of there, but ECW is such a different beast. And Impact is sort of becoming its own thing. I've always said that if Impact can combine really good TV production, which they do have, and in fact, WWE just hired away one of their TV production guys because their stuff is fairly impressive. If they're able to combine that with sort of PWG style matches, which they're starting to do, and keep on hiring, up and coming talent, becoming another feeder system like Ring of Honor to NXT, then people are going to want to watch it. The only question is, are they going to be able to sustain themselves as a business long enough to get the job done so that they can actually make money off their model? Because right now it's sort of up in the air as to whether they can do that. Well,
they have that in common with ECW then.
That's a good point. They do. Always trying to do their damnedest to stay in business.
Yep. Next, got a question here from Delete. Let's see what Delete has to say.
What's up, Steven Larson? It's your boy, Delete, Freak of Destruction, here with the Freak Legion. My Matt Chat question this week is going to be, who is the all-time funniest wrestler who just always have you laughing in stitches,
I got Lily Love.
Thank you, Delete.
Thank you, Delete. It's The Rock. There's a reason why that dude is a $65 million a year actor right now, because he was able to translate just how overwhelming we used to tune in for him and Stone Cold. Their comedy was everything. Stone Cold, he could be completely serious and he'd be laughing your ass off because he was so charismatic. The Rock had comic timing like nobody else in wrestling ever has or will have again, and that's exactly why he is Mr. Hollywood right now. But I love your answer as well.
Oh, it's Chris Jericho. Here's the thing about The Rock. So I consider The Rock. However, even 20 plus years since the birth of The Rock as a character, he's kind of still doing the same thing in wrestling sense. He has the same catchphrases.
Yeah.
Whereas Chris Jericho constantly reinvents himself, constantly giving us new material. The Chris Jericho that we last saw in his WWE run with The List is a vastly different character than WCW Chris Jericho. Vastly different than mid-aughts Chris Jericho. And apart from that period of time when he was trying to not be funny, that whole feud with Shawn Michaels when Jericho was wearing the suit and stuff, he's constantly finding new ways to be entertaining and, yes, hilarious. It can take something as simple as writing someone's name on a piece of paper, and people pop for it. And the way
Mike, Tom, Mike.
Yes,
that's great.
That
stuff.
kind of stuff.
That's
it's
great
simple,
stuff. Yeah.
but it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Going back to the WCW days. Well, you're the man of 1,000 holds. I know 1,004 holds. Starts naming them off.
Yeah.
Armbar 5 times. It's funny.
Let's talk about this really quick. So I agree with you in terms of The Rock. Whenever they bring him back, it's so cringy. Isn't it weird though that so I don't know, how many Rock movies have you seen lately? I oddly have seen a bunch of them.
None.
I watched San Andreas.
Yeah, I remember that. You saw it in the theaters.
He's so good.
Oh, he's great.
And
I thoroughly enjoyed The Rock's work.
When you take him out of wrestling, he's way better than he is in wrestling now. I watched a lot of the Rampage movie.
Yeah.
And he's great. He's so funny. And I'm like, I wish they would not just rely on what he did before whenever he comes to the WWE, but it's such a rare occurrence that what else are they going to do?
Well, that's what I'm sure at least WWE expects. That's what people want to hear.
The one time
they want to hear The Rock's greatest hits.
You're right about that. You're right about that. He's the greatest hits. That's exactly what he is. But the one thing that he did that was absolutely fantastic and it was kind of new-ish is when he did that stare down with Triple H and they wouldn't stop staring at each other because they kept on going back to their old rivalry and Stephanie eventually had to separate them.
Yeah.
That was not typical Rock. That was really, really good, and that was kind of contemporary, I guess would be the word. But I think my bottom line is this. The funniest thing The Rock ever did is funnier than the funniest thing Chris Jericho's ever done. I think that's true.
I'd have to do some research.
He just has that natural. Some people when they just have to talk.
Oh yeah,
and they're just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
and that's The Rock, man.
Yeah, Rock's funny guy.
Some people just have that.
I'm not going to take away from him as a comedian,
yeah,
as a funny dude. However, I will say just based on the constantly refreshing his material, I'll give the edge to Chris Jericho.
Yeah,
he doesn't rest on his laurels. He's not a greatest hits act. He doesn't seem interested in the least.
Because he's around a lot more. He can't afford to do that.
But I don't think he's interesed in being that.
Oh, I agree.
He doesn't want to be a nostalgia actor to come out there and do his greatest hits all the time.
Yeah.
So,
although The Rock did light his own name on fire. That's not really a greatest hits thing, man. That's pretty funny in its own respect. Intentionally, yay or nay, I don't know.
It was ridiculous.
It was pretty, yeah.
It was really ridiculous.
Which is pretty funny.
Next up, Zach S. Let's see what Zach S has to say.
What's good, Stephen Larson? Many friendos out there. It's your official friendo versus IWGP heavyweight champ, Zach S. Coming at you with another match at question. The question this week is, where does Edge rank all time? Thanks, boys.
Thank you, Zach S.
Thank you, Zach S. For this question, we had to bring out the old whiteboard.
Yeah.
Where does Edge rank all time?
So there's tiers. Are you familiar with Bill Simmons' basketball? Was it a pyramid?
Yeah.
All right, so there's tiers.
Who's the top of the pyramid?
For basketball?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Jordan?
Was Oscar in there?
I thought he was tier 2.
Oh.
Don't remember. It's been a while since.
Magic? Was Magic tier 2? Or was he tier 1?
I feel like Jordan, Russell, and
yeah.
Wilt were tier 1.
Wilt, yeah, okay.
And then tier 2 was there. Anyways, tier 1 for wrestling. You got Bruno. You got Flair.
Flair's tier 1?
Yeah, man. You got Fez.
Oh, you're crazy.
What?
Well, let's talk. Bruno and
Okay.
forward. Bruno and
Okay.
up.
Then Flair.
Hogan, Stone Cold, Cena.
You want to put Rock in there?
No.
All right, that's tier 1.
That's a big tier. I'd actually take Flair out of there.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know.
Bruno, Flair, Hogan.
I'd take Cena out over Flair.
Really?
Yeah.
You take Cena out?
Yeah.
That guy's super crossover, man.
No, I understand that.
He's been on top for a decade.
Flair was on top for roughly that long too.
In the territories, not in the WWF, not in New York, man. Not nationally.
You can't punish Flair for wrestling a different period. Bruno was only really on top in New York, not nationally though.
Yeah, but Bruno was Bruno.
I understand, but Flair was Flair. Tier 2, you got
Rock,
Jericho.
You wouldn't even put Jericho tier 2? You're crazy.
I guess I would.
Undertaker?
Triple H.
Okay, all right.
Sting,
all right.
who are we forgetting? We're forgetting somebody.
Would Orton be tier 2 or tier 3?
HBK. He's tier 2.
See, I'd put Flair in tier 2 with HBK.
Anyways, tier 3. This is where Edge lives.
Edge, Orton, Batista, Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, Punk.
Punk. Ooh, Punk. Yeah, Punk. Punk, really?
Punk's tier 3, yeah.
Punk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Punk, hold on a second. You're saying Triple H is a tier above Punk?
Yeah.
Wow.
Longevity, man.
Yeah.
At least on top in WWE.
Edge, Orton, Ray, Kane.
Yeah.
Punk is in the scene. Okay, you're probably right.
Edge is the most decorated champion in WWE history.
But you only have him at tier 3. It was because where's Diesel?
I think he's probably tier 3.
Diesel's tier 3. You're crazy. He's like tier
4.
5, man.
No, tier 5 is like JBL.
Where's Eddie Guerrero? He's got to be tier 3, right?
Yeah, he's tier 3.
Okay, right on.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Where's Angle's tier 3?
Oh, yeah.
Lesnar.
You know, if Angle had never left WWE, he might be tier 2.
He'd probably be up there.
Yeah.
Lesnar's tier 3.
Lesnar, yeah. Lesnar's tier 3.
Yeah.
Lesnar's not tier
I
2?
don't feel like it.
Oh, man, legacy-wise, he might be
I
tier
don't
2.
know. I think it's too soon to tell. Where's Luger?
There's not even enough room on this. What's tier 8? Is that Luger's exclusive tier?
Lex.
Tier 8. Oh, where's Brett? Brett's tier 2, right?
I guess Brett's tier 2.
Brett's tier 2.
Yes. Where's Sid?
Tier 7, above Luger.
I don't know.
Where's Bischoff? Where's David Arquette?
On the back of the board.
Hey, give it up to David Arquette.
Oh, man, he's still wrestling.
He looks great.
Yeah, man.
Still wrestling, having a good time with it. That dude might be like tier 6.
Yeah.
Luger's tier 8.
Oh, we didn't put Dusty on there.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of people we didn't put on there. Where's Okada?
Oh, he we got to put like...
God tier is Okada up here.
Yeah. We got to put like Antonio Inoki in this area somewhere.
Yeah, that's fine. But Okada's top,
or
right
Ricky
here.
Dozen.
Yeah. Okada. Thank you. That's his own God tier. Yeah.
There you
Okada rules them all.
Yeah. Top tier is Okada tier.
Great question.
Great question. Next, from Tim Spulak. Let's see what Tim has to say.
Oh, hi friendos, Tim Spulak here with my first ever Matt Chat question. So after meeting Steven Larson at StarCast and then seeing the All In talent at All In, made me wonder what they could do in WWE and vice versa, what WWE guys could do in New Japan. So on my whiteboard here, I want to take language out of the equation because we know that can be a barrier. But what could the talents do in each promotion? And if they were still under the same staff, whether it's writers or hierarchy, Triple H, Vince McMahon, and WWE, and everybody else in New Japan, what would be the ceiling? Who would do better in the long run? You could even toss in the WWE Network as part of the equation, but we know that WWE is ahead of the curve a little bit on that. So yeah, debate that for me. And Larson, hearty handshake. Steve, too sweet. I'm gonna get you anything? Give me back my phone!
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Hey, you need anything, Steve?
I don't need anything, Tim. Jeez.
All right. Settle
He
down.
had a lot going on. There was potatoes all over the place.
Yeah.
That was the most going in Raw Matt Chat question
It really
ever.
was. I actually had to watch it twice because the first time I watched it, I was just paying attention to
all
everything else but the
Bunch of
question
Easter eggs in
he
that.
was asking.
Back away talking, everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. He had a whiteboard too.
So if WWE and New Japan were to swap their rosters,
Yeah.
who would fare better? I will try to make the case for New Japan.
Okay.
Um,
Wait, for New Japan, the company?
no, New Japan
The
wrestlers,
wrestlers,
would
the
fare
rosters. Yeah, okay.
Because you were going to say WWE's wrestlers.
Yeah.
Now New Japan wrestlers would fare better.
WWE has the most talent. And that's the thing. WWE has so much talent that even though they're creative, at least these days on Raw, is sometimes fairly bankrupt. Can you imagine if Seth Rollins is allowed to do what they let him do in New Japan? Roman Reigns can even put on a good match in the WWE system. Could you imagine what they'd let him do? I mean, there's any number of examples of just the massive quality of talent in WWE, and to let them do what they let them do in New Japan, to envision WWE roster with long-term visionary booking of Gato, the way they masterfully interweave these factions within each other, to see that with the level of talent they have in WWE that just goes untapped. Yeah, I think New Japan with the WWE roster comes out on top for sure. I think the WWE roster is
deeper.
none.
It's deeper.
It's deeper. And besides the fact that New Japan has God tier Okada, take that out of the equation.
Well, that's the thing is you take the wrestlers from New Japan, put them in WWE as a whole different creative landscape where it's not really any long-term vision. There's an emphasis on character over what happens in the ring most of the time. And I think there would be a lot of wrestlers in New Japan who would thrive under such circumstances. I think Okada would do great. I think Naito would do great. I think especially the Elite would do wonderfully. Granted, Kenny might get frustrated dealing with WWE creative. But at the same time, we've heard stories of CM Punk in moments of frustration. He'll just go and write a bunch of TV and take it to Vince. And I think at times Vince is impressed with people who take the initiative. And they'll let him do things like that. So if Kenny and the Young Bucks went up to Vince and said, we have all these ideas, he might not agree to all of them. But he might say, all right, well, this is, you obviously put a lot of time and effort into this. It's well thought out. I like most of it. Let's do it. It'd just be an interesting juxtaposition to see the New Japan wrestlers try to adapt what they do with Vince's whims, and Vince trying to adapt what he's been doing for 40-some years with these new talents who approach wrestling from a different way. I mean, I agree with you. WWE's roster is deeper. The depth of talent across the board is deeper.
I think so like New Japan has their top 4 to 5, depending, you know? We've said this several times, both on Raw and SmackDown. So within the WWE, how many people have we said on Raw, like in that main event scene, everybody with the exception of Dolph, the 6 men, the Dogs of War and the Shield, they're all... Well, okay. Yeah. They're all potential world champions.
Yeah.
And the majority of them, just the Shield, are all former world champions. Braun really should be. And Drew is a former NXT champion.
Well, Dolph's a former world champion.
And Dolph is a former world champion. Yeah, so the majority of them are. That's just the main event on Raw. And then if you go further down the line, you have Finn. You have, Jinder's a former world champion, but
Well, you have, I know what you're saying, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn,
Kevin
Bob
Owens,
Roode.
exactly.
Yeah, the
you
list
head
goes
over
on.
to SmackDown, and my God.
You have Samoa Joe. You have AJ. Well, he's champion now. You have Nakamura. You have Baron Corbin over on Raw. I understand. Yeah. But maybe one of the advantages of bringing the New Japan roster to the WWE is you wouldn't have such a congested main event scene. You would give there, in theory, would be fewer wrestlers competing for the top spots, and therefore you wouldn't have the situation where you have fans watching saying, why isn't Finn Universal Champion? Why is Finn getting buried? You wouldn't have those conversations per se.
From our still fairly noobish eyes on New Japan, who there, like, so you got your top guys, right? Okada, Kenny, Naito, Tanahashi. Okay, so you got those guys that are like legit world champion guys.
Yeah, you can toss Cody in there.
You can toss Cody in there, really?
I think you could. In WWE, you could toss Cody in there because he's a really strong character guy.
Okay, fine. And then Suzuki.
Yeah,
right?
Minoru Suzuki. Zack Sabre Jr. I'd toss in there. Booked right.
Okay, all right. I'll even give you that.
That's 7.
That's 7, and that's like maybe a strong 6. Because Cody maybe, Zack Sabre Jr. maybe, but then on Raw has 6 alone.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you got 6 to 7 people competing for 2 top titles across 2 shows, everybody's going to get, all the top guys are going to get more opportunity to, have that belt for a while potentially, or be involved in main event programs.
Somebody came after me about that. My comments about the never openweight championship.
Oh yeah.
Don't disrespect it.
It's the only belt that crosses weight divisions.
Sorry.
Taichi's going to make a great open weight champion.
I love Taichi. I do. I just think, you got, I guess, I'll put it this way. I'm kind of surprised that belt hasn't really been elevated given the fact that Jericho ain't nowhere to be found.
Well, that in the U.S. title.
Oh, and then there's the U.S. title. Yeah. Juice.
And Cody's going to challenge for that at Fighting Spirit Unleashed.
Today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next, got a question from the Enforcer, Stevie Bradley. Let's see what the Enforcer has to say.
Friendos, Steven Larson, got a very important question for you. Been tossing and turning all week. I wake up in cold sweats, and I just got to know, did you get there Therbada's Matt Chat question this week? I gots to know. Too sweet. Hearty handshake.
Thank you, Enforcer. Instead of us answering this question, how about we let Thayer answer this question?
Hey guys, the Friendoverse has spoken again, and this is the question that they wanted me to ask you guys. Was Asuka losing to Charlotte at WrestleMania this year a good decision marred by bad booking afterwards? Or was it just a bad decision altogether? Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Thayer Thabata.
Thank you, Thayer Thabata.
So just to clarify, yes, we did receive Thayer Thabata's Matt Chat question.
Confirmed we did receive it.
We did receive it. I thought Asuka at the time losing was a terrible idea. In hindsight, I still think it was a bad idea. Definitely considering what happened afterwards. It seemed pretty obvious from the beginning they had no idea what they had with Asuka. We talked about it briefly with the first question. When she arrived on the main roster leading up to her debut, no one seemed scared that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
And that should have been the feeling amongst a majority. I mean, I can understand why the top faces in the women's division of Raw might not, act scared. But everybody else should have been scared out of their minds that Asuka was going to be there. She hadn't lost in like 3 years. She had that NXT Women's title for like 500, 600 something days. She dominated NXT, and people should have been scared of her when she debuted. When I saw that, I was like, oh, they don't understand what this is all about. And then she had that competitive match with Emma in her debut. That should have been domination. Asuka should have dominated Emma. They kind of did something closer to that with their rematch the following night on Raw. It was a little more one-sided, but not a whole lot.
Right.
And it seemed like it took 2 or 3 weeks for them to finally figure out, oh, Asuka should be here and dominate the lower card in the women's division. That's what she should be doing. And so then they started putting her in jobber matches or against jobbers and stuff. Eventually, she won the Rumble. Again, it could have been a situation where she dominated that Rumble. She went in there and eliminated 10, 12, 15 people. That wasn't the case. I think she only eliminated 3 or 4. Even the last elimination wasn't as decisive as it probably should have been. And then she had a great match with Charlotte. Her match at WrestleMania was fantastic.
It was short.
And I felt like she tapped out to the figure 8 probably sooner than she should have. They really could have at least milked that moment.
That was the main thing, yeah.
But it just, I don't know, it seemed like immediately it just took what little momentum that she had and just took it away. And they've tried intermittently since then to rebuild Asuka as this dominant force. Hasn't really worked. And I understand now we were getting a great Charlotte and Becky feud, So we're getting that, and it's fantastic because it's elevating Becky, and Becky's awesome. But if they had gone the route of having Asuka go over, winning that title at Mania, continuing her dominance, I think that would have been fantastic because now we're going to hear for a long time going forward how badly they botched Asuka's call-up. And I hope that they can correct course so she can rebuild momentum and have some sort of reign as champion in the near future.
Everything you described illustrates that it's just been really bad booking. She came in September of 2017, and she took that loss against Charlotte in April at WrestleMania. That's October, November, December, January, February, March,
7 months,
April.
6 months.
That's 8 months. Is my math on that right? Yeah, that's my math on that is right. That's 8 months of her going undefeated.
Wait, you said September?
October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months.
7 months.
Okay. That's 7 months of her going undefeated. If the question is, was her loss against Charlotte at WrestleMania a good idea or bad idea, and it's been the booking that's been bad, then the answer is yeah. You and I both agreed at the time that her losing to Charlotte at Mania was actually the right call. Because otherwise, especially with Ronda on the horizon, you're booking yourself into a really dangerous position because anything less than a loss to the best at WrestleMania is not good enough. The booking has not been great, although you could make the case that for 7 months on main roster, she was undefeated. Charlotte gave her first loss at WrestleMania. That should have been an oh my God moment because they should have given that match 10 more minutes of a furious, dramatic, tension-filled finale for that match that would have left everybody stunned, tons of near falls, and the longest figure eight, pass out, tap out, whatever you'd ever see. That's how it should have been. But I think 7 months of being undefeated, I thought that was appropriate. Losing to Charlotte at WrestleMania was a good idea. It's just by and large the execution from the get, not having her as dominant as she should be, building her up in a manner, building up Charlotte much bigger. I think that was all poorly executed. But I think that the general idea of her being undefeated for 7 months until she takes on Charlotte, I thought that was a good idea. I guess the case could be made that Asuka could have beat Charlotte at Mania, and then SummerSlam is only about 4 months away. Maybe she drops it to Charlotte at SummerSlam. But again, you're losing out on the massive what they call the WrestleMania moment. And, you're not going to have her go undefeated for a year and 7 months. So I think it was a good idea. Bad booking for the most part. Although the bottom line is 7 months undefeated. That's not too bad. Next up, Loki.
Loki, yes. Let's see what Loki has to say.
Hello, Stephen Larson. Loki Richard here. I was looking for a gimmick to put on my head. I ask you my question. And even put this on.
You look adorable. Shut up and ask your question.
My question for you is, what is the most embarrassing thing a wrestler can experience? Is it a bad promo? Sometimes words flow from their mouth not good. Is it a botched move? Is it a bad gimmick? Have fun with the debate. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Loki.
Thank you, Loki. So one of the answers, okay, yours is good. One of the answers I was going to go with is shit yourself.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Because didn't CM Punk claim that he pooped himself during a match? Okay.
Yeah.
But until they actually mentioned it, wasn't that bad. Now, if shit starts squirting everywhere,
well, that's the thing. Most wrestlers they wear two pairs of tights.
Right, yeah.
So hopefully that will keep it more or less contained.
Yeah.
But
so in that case, not a big deal.
A leaking poop butt, something like that.
So it's not really...
Or poop's getting all over the ring.
Yeah.
That could be bad.
There's that UFC, that lady in the UFC who did that. That was sad. Also pretty funny because poop is funny. For me, I think it's botching really bad. I go back to the worst I've ever seen is when Cameron tried to pin, I think it was Naomi, while she was on her stomach. She got on her and said, "Count, ref," and the ref said, "Count what?" Which is the greatest response ever.
Yeah.
So doing something so dumb in the ring that just lacks basic fundamentals of wrestling knowledge is probably the most embarrassing thing I can think of. But a really, really gnarly botch, or if you have a history of them, is probably the worst, the most embarrassing on my list.
Pooping your pants is up there pretty high, but I'd say getting humiliated or at least strongly humbled by Vince in front of the locker room would probably be pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Being the target of his ire would probably be pretty embarrassing. Even though we've heard that he's got a pretty fiery temper at times, so maybe people would be fairly understanding of it. Go back to that Kevin Owens 365 when he goes to Vince and says, "So are we good?" And Vince just barely look at him, and just goes, "No." Man, that's gotta suck.
That's gotta suck.
That's gotta really suck.
Is that more like just soul crushing or embarrassing? Because I feel like they're two different things.
They are different things, and I think that was maybe slightly more soul crushing than embarrassing, but
still, your peers are there.
Yeah, your peers are there, producers are there, and then it ends up in front of the televisions of network subscribers. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or just anytime Vince decides to punish somebody, like it's got to be embarrassing for Triple H to go out there for 18 months and get destroyed.
Not remembering your lines and just standing there and going, yeah. That's got to be a bit embarrassing. Yeah. Anyways, next up. Christian!
He's
At
back.
last, he has returned. Let's see what Christian has to say.
Christian has to say, yeah.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Larson. This is the Hall of Famer Christian here in my return to Matt Chat. Here to ask you guys a very, very simple question. Who is the most undisputed wrestler in the world, not in the undisputed era, or is Kevin Owens? Too sweet and a hearty handshake. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Christian.
So the most undisputed wrestler, not in the
go
undisputed
because
era.
I have the best answer.
You have kind of the only appropriate
Yeah,
answer.
so it can't be anybody in the Undisputed Era. All right. It can't be Kevin Owens. All right. So there was a faction in wrestling called the Mount Rushmore of Wrestling, and it consisted of 4 members. 1 was Adam Cole. 2 was Kevin Owens. Who were 3 and 4?
Young Bucks.
Young Bucks.
It's
Young Bucks.
It's the Young Bucks.
It's the Young Bucks.
Yeah, I that's the answer. I looked at the careers of the only other name, and it wouldn't fit character-wise, but it would be wildly entertaining. The only other name, another big Ring of Honor guy, Bryan Danielson. Daniel Bryan. It's the only other name I can think of, but he's too much of a sort of a geeky dad now, just a good-natured. It just wouldn't really fit.
Nah.
But history-wise, I mean, that's the only other thing that kind of makes sense. Maybe Sami Zayn. Maybe. But it's kind of it's
the Young Bucks.
It's the Young Bucks. Like they are the only other ones that are undisputed.
Yeah. Absolutely. Next, Steve Zodiac Killer. See what Steve Zodiac Killer has to say.
Well, Stephen Larson, another match chat question for you here. With the Mixed Match Challenge going on, I'd just love to know you guys' opinions on who would you like to see from the independent ranks team up as a couple. For me, it'd be Will Ospreay and Bea Priestley, obviously our couple in real life as well, away from wrestling. I think they're both really good wrestlers, but any man and any woman who obviously isn't signed with WWE as a team in the Mixed Match Challenge, I'd love to know you guys' opinions. Too sweet, hearty handshake, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Steve Zodiac Killer.
Thank you, my Zodiac Killer. Give me Jordan Grace and Brian Cage. If y'all watched All In, the over-the-budget battle royal.
That's a good answer.
The 2 powerhouses, man, they would dominate. They'd destroy everybody. It'd be great. Jordan Grace, Brian Cage, lots of buzz around those names right now. That's my answer.
All right, I'm going to go with Joey Ryan and Laura James. Joey Ryan, probably the foremost intergender specialist, mixed tag specialist.
True.
So he and his wife, Laura James, they have done mixed tag matches before.
Sure.
Why not do them on the largest stage possible?
Yeah, man, absolutely. That'd be great.
Yes, it would be great.
That'd be great.
You're correct. That would be great.
Yeah, I like mine though. Power wrestlers.
Yeah, that's good too.
Power
wrestlers.
Yeah.
Next, we got a question from a new Matt Chatter.
Cool.
Devin.
Let's see what he has to say.
Hey, friendos. This is Devin from the Island, new patron. Big fan of the show, guys. 2 quick questions. Is the Becky Lynch heel turn in order to have Becky versus Ronda Rousey not have Rousey be booed at Survivor Series because they don't want to have Charlotte versus Rousey until WrestleMania, so they have to have someone else face her as champion versus champion. But if Rousey beats Becky clean, I mean, she might get booed. They don't want Ronda Rousey booed. And then the other question is, how are they going to do champion versus champion, which I'm hearing a lot, unless they book Rousey in the Royal Rumble to win it like they did Roman Reigns. But then again, you run into the issue of Daniel Bryan, where if Becky goes in that Rumble and loses, I mean, there could be some issues. I mean, I think if the fans get what they want, it could be a triple threat at Mania. Because if Charlotte wins, I mean, her options are face her former best friend and finally get Becky that comeuppance, or face Ronda Rousey. So, I mean, we could be looking at a triple threat. What are your guys' thoughts? And stay strong, friendos. Too sweet and a hearty handshake.
Thank you, Devin.
Thank you, Devin.
You go first.
All right, no. I mean,
No?
Here's the problem.
Really? Yes.
As well as Ronda Rousey has been doing, she's getting a pretty solid reaction from the crowd. She does not have the groundswell of support that Becky Lynch has.
Yeah, man.
And so the worry has to be, you put Becky, who's immensely over, in the ring against Ronda, who's pretty over. And Ronda loses, she might get booed because everybody loves Becky. And I don't think WWE wants Ronda Rousey being booed. So if that thought crosses their mind, which I doubt it does, then they should not have that match. But we haven't even heard if they're doing brand versus brand, champion versus champion. We don't know if that's in the cards or not. But if it is, it's, what could happen is Becky retains at Super Showdown. Maybe Charlotte gets it back at Evolution. She takes on Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series. And then the next one, TLC, ladder match, Becky and Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Champion. And then Becky could get involved in the Ronda-Charlotte match. So it's kind of a protected finish saying, I should be in this match. I'm the real champion. This match shouldn't happen without me. There you go.
I like Becky versus Ronda at Survivor Series. I think it's the one time when they can sort of step outside the bubble of the brand split, or they can step into a bubble that eliminates the brand split. What do they say? The one time of the year when they go head to head, blah blah blah. So I like it. Yeah, the crowd I'll put it this way: the crowd likes Ronda enough they will simply out cheer. Becky will get more cheers as opposed to Ronda getting boos. If they put on just a killer match, Ronda will go over, and Becky guts out a really, really good, tough fight that she ends up losing. I don't think the crowd would boo that at all, because if Ronda, at this point, the crowd simply wants Ronda to be comfortable in the ring. If she puts on, actually, it's kind of the perfect matchup if you think about it, because they're still giving Ronda the benefit of the doubt, and she is beating expectations. And so at that point, they're rooting for Ronda to overcome this badass Becky who they all love. I honestly think it'd be a huge love fest. And even if they boo Ronda out of the building, it's one night that nobody's going to remember because they'll go back to the status quo the next day. So I think Becky versus Ronda Survivor Series would be great for the fact that it's probably the only time we'll have the opportunity to see that. unless the next Survivor Series they do the horsewomen versus horsewomen. But in terms of one-on-one competition, it's probably going to be the one time you'll get a Becky champion versus Ronda champion situation, because the next Mania they have to do like a Ronda versus Charlotte type thing, champion versus champion. That'd be
something
great.
like that.
But no, I think it'd be huge. It'd be one of those things where it's like kind of low key, more popular than maybe Ronda versus Charlotte at the next Mania. Like people look more fondly back on this. Like, yeah, Ronda Charlotte was great. Look at the crowd; it's huge. But like, man, Becky Ronda is really where it was at. So I don't know. I think I'd be down for it.
All right. Next from AO Worm. See what AO Worm has to say.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy AO Worm. Another Matt Chat question. All right, Steve Larson. So we saw the track list for WWE 2K19. I like most of the songs. Some songs I haven't heard yet. I haven't listened to them. But for our overall aspect of it, seems pretty solid. But would I change some songs on it? Of course I would. Would you? I'm pretty sure you would. You probably add some Slayer songs to it. Possibly. So my question is, Steve Larson, you guys both picked 5 songs apiece. If you guys were in charge of making the soundtrack for a WWE 2K game, you both picked 5 songs apiece to put it on the game. Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys. Too sweet, hearty handshake. I'm out.
Thank you, AO Worm.
Thank you, AO Worm.
Do you have any songs picked out?
Yeah, man.
All right, go ahead.
Absolutely. 5 songs for the next WWE game?
Yeah.
All right, give me Black Flag's Rise Above.
Yeah, I knew that was happening.
Kick Out the Jams from the MC5.
That's good.
Give me what else do I like? There's a rapper named POS, and he's got this terrific song called Duct Tape that I love to death. It's really good. It's on the Rhymesayers label. Came out like 10 years ago. And I'll go with Gigi Allen's Don't Talk to Me. And I'll go with, let's see here. I need one more. We'll toss some Minor Threat in there. And we'll go with, what's that one song I like from theirs? Out of Step. I think that's the name of the album.
All right.
Is that the friggin' track also? Let me find out here.
All right, wait, look at that. I'll name mine. Run the Jewels, Legend Has It. Public Enemy's Welcome to Terrordome. Spiritualized Electricity. It's a good song. Outcast, B.O.B.
Yeah, Out of Step. That's the one.
And then Mastodon's The Last Baron.
Cool. Right on. We've
All
got
great songs.
Yeah. We got another question from TNA for Life. Oh, I like this question. Let's see what he has to say.
What is up, friendos? It's your boy TNA for Life, here for another Matt Chat question. So, Steven Larson, I know that you guys weren't really big fans of WWE around 2006, 7, 8. That was actually really when I first started watching. I'm 21 years old right now. I started watching around late 2006. And around that time, I feel like there were a lot of guys that you thought were going to be given big pushes and ended up just falling off completely. One in particular by the name of Carlito. So, I want to know, Steven Larson, if my boy Carlito came back and you had to book him to win his first WWE World Championship or Universal Championship, give me the storyline. I want details. I want to know, how would you book my boy Carlito? Because he spits in the face of people that don't want to be cool. Thank you very much. Too sweet. Hearty handshake. Peace out.
Thank you, TNA for Life.
Thank you, TNA for Life.
It's what you do. It's real simple.
I want to hear this.
You have Baron. Sorry, not Baron. Roman out there dropping a promo.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting some heat. And then you cue up Carlito's music. He comes down, gives Roman a bit of the business, verbally, spits apple on him.
Yeah, sure.
Instantly Carlito's most over guy in all of WWE.
Oh, I like it.
That's all it takes. He just spits some apple in Roman's face. Most over guy in the entire company.
Yeah.
That's really all you need to do.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. It's hard to argue with that. It's
Yeah.
actually,
That's all he needs to do.
Yeah. Spit apple at Roman Reigns' face.
Yeah. And everybody will love him.
People love him. Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. But then he gets a Universal title shot?
And then he wins.
How does he win that one, though?
He blinds Roman by spitting apple in his face.
Okay, good.
Hits his finisher.
Okay.
Gets the Universal title.
All right, I like it. And then Primo and Epico and Carlito become the new Shield.
Mm-hmm.
The Shield. Mm-hmm. All right. Next up from Daniel Gillespie. Let's see what he has to say. He's got a conundrum.
What's up, Steven Larson? It is the triumphant return of El Hijo de Mini Azul with a Matt Chat question. My girlfriend and I have an ethical conundrum for you. We are both obviously wrestling fans, and we also collect Funko Pop figures. Our local Walgreens has an entire row of the Enzo and Cass double pack, and we are torn about whether or not to purchase them. And so, Steve, I would like you to let us know why you think we should buy them. Larson, I would like you to throw some cold water on it and let us know why we shouldn't purchase them. And whoever we feel wins the debate will actually make the decision for us, and then
I say yes.
We'll update you next time. So, for my girlfriend who doesn't want to be on camera, this is El Hijo de Mini Azul signing out. Peace out.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. No, man, no. There's no need to buy it. If you don't look, man, no, have some standards when it comes to buying your shit, man. Funko Pops, everybody's got a Funko Pop. I'm surprised we don't have a Funko Pop. No, man, don't. You don't need an Enzo and Cass one. No.
Well, if they're completists, what if they want to get all the WWE ones? Then they have to get that one.
I mean, yeah. Don't be a completist.
Especially if that, I think they said at Walgreens, they have a whole row of them.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a good deal on it. It's on sale. Mm-hmm. If you needed to complete your set, what does it hurt, really?
What set exactly, though?
All the WWE ones.
That's a lot.
I know.
No, man.
If you're a collector, you want to get all of it. Completists. That's the only argument I can make in favor of doing it, is that if you're a completist, you want to get every WWE themed Funko Pop, then you kind of have to.
Really? In order to I don't know if they're the types that take their Funko Pops out.
I don't know either. I have a hard time believing this Enzo Cass 2-packs be worth anything in or out of the box.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, if you're looking to invest, no, that's trash. That's junk bonds. But you have to touch Cass is whatever, but you'd have to take out the Enzo one and touch it. That's gross. So no, of course don't buy it. Don't be silly. Come on, people.
If you needed to complete your collection, then buy it, put it in the back row of your display, and then you at least say that you have all the WWE ones.
Yeah. They can just lie. Or they can say, we got every single one. How about this? We got every single one except for Enzo and Cass. That's a conversation starter. Really? Why not? Because one of them's really gross. The other one seems okay.
All right.
Cass seems okay, right? So yeah, no, don't buy it. Come on, don't be ridiculous. Don't be completionist. That's just why would you do that?
Well,
just throwing your money away.
That's what collecting stuff's about. It's
collecting
things.
No, it's not. But being a collector does not necessarily mean you have to be a completionist. I collected comic books for the longest time. I was not a completionist.
I collected baseball cards, specifically Mark McGwire cards, and I want to get every Mark McGwire card possible.
That's okay.
I want to get all of them.
Yeah. But I collected comics, and I didn't need to get all the comics.
That's why I said with the caveat, if they are completionists.
Yeah, but if they're not completionists,
then whatever.
Yeah, then no, right?
Well,
no. The answer is no. Chris Romperson has a question. I wonder if it has to do with Funko Pops.
No. Food.
No, drink. Really? Oh, that's the best kind of question.
Well, his question. Let's see what his question is, though.
Hello, Steven Larson. So, next Saturday is WWE Super Showdown. So, my question is, what kind of food and what kind of drinks you guys going to bring in? I know for me, I'm at 5 a.m. and you guys are at 1 a.m. 5 a.m. here, I'm just probably waking up, gonna make myself some coffee, eat a bagel, drink 2 or 3 energy drinks. So my question is, what kind of drinks or food would you like to have when we watch Super Showdown? And I'm excited to see you guys for the live stream to keep me up, by the way.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, Christopher.
So for Super Showdown, I want to get some Australian beer. Maybe I'll get a variety.
1 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, it's going to be Australian beer and energy drinks.
don't know, man.
Or I could bring some whiskey.
Fuck that.
And we can put it in the and make some coffee and put it in there.
I'll make some coffee, but I just want straight up coffee.
Oh man, whiskey and coffee is really good. You get some whipped cream in there. Oh,
Yeah, I think you have a problem.
Oh, it's so good.
I think you have a problem. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know, man. I'm just not into it.
Food-wise, though,
I liked his idea of bagels. I don't know. I'll probably get a bunch of snackies. Get a bunch of snacks. How long is this Super Show going to be?
Probably 4 hours.
Fuck. So like 1 in the morning till 5 in the morning, dude. I don't know. I don't know. Pringles, M&Ms, Fritos. Yeah, I like the idea of dip.
All right.
I like
Maybe
chips
I'll make
and
some
dip.
chili and get some chili with Fritos.
Oh, I'd eat the shit out of that. I'll bring
Yeah.
a bag of cheese for my own pleasure.
Yeah.
Put that in a bowl with some Fritos and some fucking
homemade chili, some homemade
cheese
Larson
on the
chili.
top. I'll just dump the cheese on there. Bring some hot dogs. Put that in there too.
Oh, so you're just gonna ruin it now. I put a lot of time and effort in making my chili.
God, you're so lame sometimes.
It's enough of a flavor cornucopia. You don't need to introduce hot dogs into the equation. I assure you of that.
Do we have anything else?
You had to broaden your mind about the possibility of chili as opposed to just
You're the one
accoutrement
who's
to hot
taking away. You're taking away options.
Yeah, because it's unnecessary. Next, Mo Clo, master of the low blow. Let's see. Oh, he has a text question.
Let's read what he has to say.
Let's read what he has to say. Can pro wrestling be considered a sport or just entertainment? Thanks, friendos. It's both. They're athletes in the ring.
Okay, define sport for me, please. Please, sir.
Well, I guess it would be an athletic, competitive endeavor. And yes, the competitive nature is not maybe in
doubt.
Well, no, it's not in doubt. It's predetermined.
Yeah.
However, to say strictly this is just entertainment and not at least introduce sports in the definition of it to appreciate the fantastic athleticism of the wrestlers involved, I think sells them a little bit short. I like how, at least from what I hear, wrestling is treated in Japan. It's covered like other sports. That's what I've heard. It could be completely wrong.
With the caveat that everybody knows.
Everybody knows it's predetermined. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I unless you want to coin a new phrase, athletic entertainment,
which is cheesy. I know.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you in that. I do not want to denigrate. I do not want to downplay what they do as athletes, what they put their bodies through. Absolutely, there is totally an athletic. And I mean, you could consider. I'll put it this way. I guess you can consider it both on this basis. These performers are using their athleticism to compete to see who can have the best performance, because you move up the ranks of your job, generally speaking, if you put on the best all-around performance, which is heavily based on athletics.
Yeah.
So in that realm, yes, you're absolutely right. Athletic entertainment sounds cheesy. Sports entertainment sounds
slightly better.
Probably perfect because it's an entertainment version of sports. So yeah, but to say, is it a sport?
In the strictest definition, no.
And do you consider esports sports?
Oh, I don't want to get in that.
I know, right? I know. What about NASCAR?
I mean, there's hand-eye coordination involved, but
right,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
You're just kind of driving in a circle.
Yeah. I don't mean, you don't know. You don't always have to define everything. You know, not everything has to be placed into
strict categories. Yes, absolutely.
But no, I kind of feel like esports isn't actually sports, man. There's nothing athletic.
It just takes hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Hand-eye coordination.
At least with like driving, you're like moving like this. Well, I guess with esports, I don't know. I don't even consider.
What about golf? Is golf a sport?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not one that I have any interest in, but you can get injured and not be able to play golf. You have to have the movements and shit down.
Yeah. Speaking of hand-eye coordination, that's super tough with golf.
Yeah.
Hitting a golf ball correctly is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hitting a baseball correctly is hard. What did Ted Williams say? Trying to hit a round ball with a round bat squarely is one of the hardest things to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, anyways, that's it for Matt Chat. Thanks so much for tuning in. Once again, thanks to the patrons out there. Once again, at patreon.com/Stephen Larson, you can participate in Matt Chat. Or if you don't want to kick in $20 a month, that's totally cool. $1 a month makes all the difference here at Going In Raw. We really appreciate the support. And until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.